Hey guys, this is Joe East here. Hey, yeah, I wanted to do a video and do a little bit of analysis here on this travel ban stuff that we've been hearing about and stuff, and all this goofy hysteria stuff. So obviously I'm not connected to any sort of intelligence. At least I don't think I am, unless I'm mind controlled by something that was implanted in my head that I have no idea about, or maybe I'm hypnotized or some bullshit. Anyway, so I don't believe any of this bullshit. It can't be real, based on, it's just insane. So let's figure out what it means, say a 30-day travel ban from Europe. So it looks like there was a 30-day travel ban between USA and Europe. You see my cute little drawings here. I just drew this really quickly within about 30 seconds. So anyway, F is for France, S for Spain, I for Italy, and GB kind of wacko for Great Britain and Ireland right here. And right here we have USA, Canada, and Mexico. So so the travel ban is, I think there's, between China, of course, the alleged origin of whatever the fuck they're trying to origin, whatever. But now we have this travel ban between the USA and Europe. So that means there's something in Europe that we can't let in. So let's say the centers of the universe, say the centers of power of the world are typically the City of London and financiers in Germany, in France, and then the Boston elite on the Ivy Leagues for the USA. Crazy kid. For the USA, or the elites in the USA. So the Ivy Leagues are the elite in the USA, and then there's the City of London out of Great Britain, and then there's the very quiet elites, formal royals of France and Germany. I didn't put a G up there for Germany. I guess I could do that right here. Germany. So let's put a red line around the elites of Europe, and just this little circle here for like London, the City of London. It's all connected to MI6 on the European side, and some of the French and German intelligence. So France is probably run by some quiet elites from England since the defeat of Napoleon in 1812. Because after the idea was the King of France had a plot against the King of England, and the King of England, in retaliation, instigated the French Revolution through secret society groups like the Freemasons and the related groups. Burned down France. Napoleon took over, which was an accident, and so the British and all the allies had to get a big coalition together to defeat Napoleon. And they killed Napoleon on the island of St. Helena, way out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. He was poisoned, killed. So ever since the defeat of Napoleon, essentially England and France have been allies forever. And you can kind of figure out what happened. The British intelligence infiltrated France, and France is essentially, as long as it agrees with Great Britain, they'll let them be. But when they don't, then they're going to send in intelligence agents and stir up some crap to make sure that France and Britain are pretty much allies. Kind of sort of how the USA manages most of our allies in NATO for the last 50 years. As long as they pretty much do what we want, we let them alone. But whenever they start trouble, the USA is going to instigate agent provocateurs, agent provocateur in French, from the French Revolution, right? So anyway, so there's something in Europe that we can't let into the USA. So let's figure out what it is or what it could be, and you can stir up your imagination if you want to be an analyst like I am. So first of all, the rule number one is you don't believe the front part of a story. So let's say there's a story. You don't believe the core of the story. You ask your question, what's the story hiding? The first layer, number one, what are they hiding? And there's a story behind the story. And there's a story behind the story behind the story, a second layer. And a third layer. Remember, the elites are very quiet people. They have to hide themselves to make sure that the French Revolution doesn't happen to them, i.e. the common folks rise up and, with pitchforks and kill them, right? for any revolution. So they hide themselves behind several layers of information. You can never get to the elites because they've been at this for a few hundred years. So whatever story you're seeing in any news report, it is not on the face value true. Your question you got to ask is, what are they hiding behind the story? What's the story behind the story? And then the second and third layers, like what the hell's these? It's like a babushka Russian doll. It's like you open it anyway. So that's how it is. That's how you got to think, because the main thing with the elites is privacy. You can't know who they are because that's protection, right? Wealth must be protected, and you must hide your. I'm talking about really, really wealthy people like multi-billionaires. You must hide your wealth behind several layers of protection. That's just the way the world always works. Kings never, ever, you never know where their real wealth is. They always put decoys out there. So the wealthy is going to stack up decoys behind stories and stuff. So there's something in Europe that we can't let into the USA. So let's put some red lines of whatever could be coming to Europe, to the USA from Europe. And the main things that can come to the USA from Europe is by air travel. A-I-R spells air, and then cargo for shipping goods. So most human beings get from Europe to the United States back and forth by airplane. 737s, Airbus A300s, sometimes the big ones, the big ocean line, not the ocean liners, the big jets, I forget, the 500 series or whatever, Boeing. And cargo, but cargo is mostly shipping of goods, like, what does Europe produce? I mean, luxury items essentially is what we import from Europe. Luxury cars, luxury perfumes, luxury foods, stuff like that from Europe. Oh, who produces luxury stuff? Established families that are very wealthy. Again, England, France, Germany, and to some extent maybe Italy, and some lower extent Spain, but essentially France, Germany, Great Britain. It has to be a high dollar item to sustain these economies. So there's air and cargo can get to the USA. And we're trying to stop something from getting to the USA. Whatever the hell it is, let's just speculate. So air is primarily a travel for people. So we could be preventing certain people from coming to the USA. And you can think of cargo. The only people in the cargo is the crew. I mean, maybe a cruise ship or something might cross the Atlantic, but nowadays not that much. I mean, you might take a cruise to Iceland to go see the Northern Lights or something, but it's kind of stupid to take a cruise to Europe. You just jump on a freaking plane for a few $100 and go to Europe. There's no reason to take a ship to Europe or back and forth. It's just dumb unless you're doing a cruise. So not that much on the cargo or the ship, so mostly by air. So it appears there's a certain type of people that we don't want in the USA. So you can kind of also speculate where the coup attempt against the Trump administration started at. And according to the evidence that we've gathered, it started in England, the Anglosphere, the English-speaking countries related to MI6, CIA sort of stuff, but mainly MI6. So out of, again, near the city of London, and some European crap went on, probably France, Germany, Italy, and then a small island out in the Mediterranean Sea called Malta, where George Papadopoulos was set up out in, I think, a small island of Malta, and I think Greece, too. Greece. So there's something in Europe that actually was part of the instigation of the coup against Donald Trump. So there's that intelligence operation, and this is all shady spy stuff. So this air travel ban could conceivably be blocking certain weird radical elements out of that coup attempt in Europe, or whatever the hell was going on. We think it was a coup attempt, but again, there's the main story, and there's the story behind the story, et cetera, like a babushka doll, matryoshka doll from Russia, right? So we don't really know what's going on, but we kind of sort of know the themes, right? This intelligence operation. So there you go. So we're trying to stop something in Europe from getting to the USA. Now, those of you who still believe there's a real virus that's going to be attacking. One way of thinking that will get rid of that idea is what's up with Mexico, Canada, and then let's say the Caribbean. The Caribbean's right here. The Caribbean's right there. So Mexico, Canada, Caribbean, they can still come to the USA. So obviously, if the infection people coming from the Mexico, Caribbean, and Canada, which is probably the bulk of the human traffic coming into the USA, if we don't ban travel from there, then it's like, okay, why Europe? Okay, so there's something going on in Europe. So this is a way to think about it from an analytical perspective. So travel ban, that's pretty extreme, right? 30 days Europe travel ban, that's pretty extreme. That's going to probably kill the airlines. I mean, damn. We got a good bit of domestic traffic, but I'm thinking that's going to really hurt airlines big time, and travel agents, hotels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That entire industry around travel is going to be hurt really bad, and that's a necessary part of the infrastructure for world trade. So that's a big deal, banning travel from Europe, and I think some of the initial reports were also cargo, banning some of the cargo. So, so the question is, what is in Europe that we don't want, or somebody does not want in the USA? So given those stories, you can use your brain and think of the possibilities. They're getting kind of weird now. It's like, whoa, yeah, initially the virus, okay, so how many people are sick in the hospital? Okay, flu epidemic, whatever. The flu gets bad, but this European travel ban tells you that something else is going on. And if you don't believe that, just ask yourself why there's no ban between Mexico to USA, Caribbean USA, and Canada and the USA, right? So there you go. There's a quick analytical sort of way to look at this stuff right here. Basic logistics of what's being stopped, why, what's some of the background weird stories, and what are some of the stories behind the stories. Again, those of you who are naive and you believe what the major news media says, it's been obvious for the last 5 years that the major stories in the media are not true, none of them. It's just not true. So you have to ask yourself, here's what I'm being told, the story, but what's the story behind the story behind the story, right? It's like your kids in school. Do you really know what the hell's going on? Probably not. They tell you a story, but what's really behind the story? Same thing with office intrigues, wherever you work, government intrigues, what blows up in families. The front story is never the real story. So the way our news media in the USA operates is that the stories that you're hearing are so untrue that they're trying to get a certain meme or idea in your head to believe a certain thing to block something else that they don't want you to know. Because they don't make money. News organizations don't make money. So they're funded by either a government black ops or government organizations that are funneling money to them, or corporations or multimillionaires or multi-billionaires backing these news corporations to put propaganda out, put a story out to prevent you from knowing the story behind the story behind the story behind the story. And it makes perfect sense because elites and extremely wealthy throughout the ages have valued extreme privacy. Like, you don't know who these people are. You never will. So that's a good way to think about it. So core questions, travel ban. What are we trying to stop? There's only air and cargo between USA and Europe. Mostly air for human beings. Cargo for heavy items and, most of the trade, right? And then the structure of the news media, the false story that always leads, and you got to ask yourself what's behind it all the time. Okay? There you go. There's your quick analysis. So you guys post some stuff out there if you like. Tell me what you think. What are you thinking? What are they trying to stop from getting to the USA from Europe? what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? So if there's actual, I mean, you can also, let's think backwards, okay? Let's say there actually was an epidemic virus, or should I say, let's say there was a flu-like virus. Well, why would be stopping people from getting from Europe to the USA? Well, we got plenty of medicines and pharmaceuticals, so that would help them make tons and tons of money, and USA could be a hero by curing all these people that's coming out here and kicking ass. We're going to cure the world, right? If it was a real medical epidemic, a flu-like epidemic, then we would have a quick project management organization from major government, healthcare organizations, et cetera, setting up a task force to knock this shit out in 2 weeks, right? If it was real, but it's not. That's not happening. So therefore, that's another piece of the puzzle telling you that the actual so-called front story of a virus is not true. And Trump kind of alluded to that when he initially said, oh, you guys are overblowing it, blah, blah, blah. But the news caught traffic, so he did something, this travel ban, and now you're wondering what the real story is, which it can't be the front story, because the rule, almost the rule of the universe with regard to news media is that the front story is never true. Never. We learned that in the past 4 or 5 years. So that's kind of how you got to think. What's the story behind the story? And that's another way to think about it. Anyway, so there you go. Analytics kind of sort of thing, like put point A, point B. How do I get to point A to point B? How do you construct a story? How do you control the minds of a population? You can't really tell them what you're doing, but you have to manipulate the images they see in order to hide something that's so valuable to you or to the elites that you can never let the common folks know about, because they'll come out with pitchforks and and you know what I mean, French Revolution sort of stuff. That all the elites never want another French Revolution to happen ever again. So and they'll do anything to stop a French Revolution, because that's when the kings had their heads chopped off, right? So there you go. Have fun, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care. Go out there and kick some ass. Till next time. Stay safe. Goodbye.